Hello, let's talk about an overview of the vocabulary for perspective. Remember, what we're doing in this unit is creating the illusion of depth in your drawings. We are trying to create space on a flat piece of paper. So we're going to talk about foreground, middle ground, and background, and you have all the vocabulary. So we're not going to read them, but we're going to talk about the images themselves. So in this picture, what's really nice about this image that you're looking at is this painting was done in the 1400s, and it intentionally was created. One of the aspects of it was to show perspective, okay, in all of its glory. And when you look at this image, you have foreground clearly defined. You have large images in the front, or large figures in the front. You have a middle ground. You have the people are kind of medium size. And then you have all the way in the background. The buildings can be in the background. You got the little people, you got small trees, mountains, all of that is the background. And what it's doing by playing with size, just size by itself, there's other things going on, but just size by itself, you have created that illusion of depth, right? We know how tall people are. A person's going to be 5 to 6 feet, right? So let's look. Our perspective is going to go all the way back here into this back, and we're going to talk about this. Our perspective is here. And one of the things that you can see in the door is a person. You see these two people standing in the back in the doorway? So what's interesting is if I know that a person is 5 foot or 6 foot, somewhere in that range, right? That's your average people. I can figure out how tall that door is. So I can look and say, if these people were short, I always feel like people were short back then. So if this was a 5 foot person and I doubled that because that distance is about the same, I can guess that's, a 10 foot, maybe 12 foot door, right? I can get a good sense of scale. And now I can take this size and kind of go up like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. That's a 50-foot building back there. It's a big building. And I can start to get an awareness of the space itself. So we can create that illusion even though it's a flat image. And that's what perspective does. And again, for vocabulary purposes, let's kind of just go over all of this real quickly. Again, you have all of the actual written vocabulary. So I'm not going to read these out, but I'm going to talk about them. And we're not going to spend a long time talking about atmospheric perspective, but I do want you to be kind of aware of it. So the horizon line, vanishing point, parallel lines, these are terminologies that you really need to know as we go through this unit, so you can get a good clear picture of what we're referring to when we talk about things. So parallel lines, they are lines that never touch, right? Lines that never touch. So if you think of a train track, right? Railroad tracks, they never touch. Those lines go all the way up and down and never touch. That's how a train sits on them and rolls all around the country, right? You take that same concept of a train track and you put that train track on a flat image in a photo, which is what you're looking here. All of a sudden, those parallel lines appear to be converging. This is the essence of one point perspective. There they go. And now we have created a sense of space in this flat photo. And that's the trick. That's the illusion of space. I do also want you to know what a perpendicular line is. It's that, a perfect square. It's that right angle. It's just important that you understand those terms because we throw them out as you're working and you want to make sure you have an understanding of that. All right. Where is the vanishing point? There it is, right? So the vanishing point is where all the lines converge. So here we are converging, right? Let's look at this image closer. Where is the vanishing point? There it is. It is where all the things disappear and converge and disappear in that background. That's going to be your vanishing point. The next thing is the horizon line. This is your horizon line. Now, sometimes we can actually see the horizon line perfectly. So imagine yourself sitting on a beach, looking out over the water, and you can see where the ocean disappears and where the sky meets. So it's where the earth and the sky meet. But sometimes in a city with buildings or big trees, you can't actually see the horizon line, but it's still there. So the rules of what we're doing apply to whether you're doing a cityscape or a room. The rules still apply. And again, everything is going to converge to that vanishing point. So you can see the train tracks converging to that vanishing point. Even this tree line is going to that vanishing point. Even though it's not a perfect line, it is all heading down to that direction. Okay, so vanishing point, horizon line. Again, where is the vanishing point on this picture? Let me give you a second to kind of think about it. And there it is. Because we can tell by where the lines converge. Our horizon line, something I haven't said yet. The horizon line has to be on the vanishing point. Okay. It's like the vanishing point is like a bead on a string. It travels anywhere along this line, but it must be on the horizon line. Likewise, the horizon line can move anywhere up or down the picture plane, but the vanishing point must follow it. And we'll learn that will change your view or your perspective of where you are in the picture plane, because that's what the horizon line and the vanishing point are. It's your eye level. It's your view of what we're looking at. And again, you'll notice all the lines in the picture converge to that vanishing point. This is one of the fundamental rules that you're going to be doing in your drawing, and we'll get more in depth to that. So right now it's just kind of getting the grasp of the vocabulary. One more. Where is the vanishing point? Right there by the doors. And again, we know this because all the lines are going to converge. When you look, every line goes and converge. And I know which one is the horizontal line, the horizon line, because it's horizontal. There it runs through the vanishing point. So I know that this line is the horizon line. So here's some examples of one-point perspective in a painting. Again, the vanishing point is going to be where all the lines converge. So you can see where the bridge and the lines come all the way down to the point, which is behind the people. But that vanishing point is still there. That horizon line is still there. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, clean, straight lines. Everything is going in that general direction. Foreground, middle ground, background. Atmospheric perspective is still perspective. We're going to focus on linear perspective in this unit, but the concepts they're the same and they're very interchangeable. When you look at the figure, we have our foreground. She's very detailed. You see all the details in her feathers, all that good stuff. As you get to that middle ground, you can see the farmland, you can see a path, you can see trees. There's detail. It's smaller, there's less detail, but there's still recognizable images in there. And as you get to that background, then you really can't see the trees on the mountain anymore. There's detail that you cannot see, just like in real life. The further something is away, the less detail you have. So that you're bringing how we perceive the world into your picture. So, and I also like to talk about two-point perspective. Two-point perspective, we're not going to do it in this unit, but we will have some handouts for those that are interested in trying their hand in it. But it's what it sounds like. It's 2 points, 2 vanishing points as opposed to just one. So here you have the 2 vanishing points, right? Same rule applies. 1 vanishing point, the horizon line has to stay on, and 2 vanishing points, the horizon line has to stay. So that horizon line goes through those vanishing points. And then all the lines will converge depending on what side it is, the side you're drawing will go to each of its own vanishing points. So artists have been having fun with perspective for a long time. This artist is M.C. Escher, and he plays with 3-point perspective. And so what he's doing is actually, when you take a minute to look at the picture, and you'll start to see that you have people climbing stairs, and sometimes they look like they're going downstairs, but depending on the angle that you look at the picture, they're all kind of doing this, going up or down a stair. And it's all because he's got his vanishing points moved. So there's multiple vanishing points on a horizon line. And he's playing with that. Movies and sci-fi, there's lots of examples that you can find of inspiration from M.C. Escher. So he's kind of a fun one to look at when you're looking at perspective. Artists, you'll see street artists that do chalk murals that look super real, where this guy looks like he's actually standing on the Eiffel Tower. They play with these extreme perspectives, so they only look right in one spot, but they're following this kind of those rules of perspective. They're getting to kind of push that envelope of those rules that have been around for centuries. Here's another fun one that I like. And again, it's not perfect lines, but those rules still apply to perspective. So it's a very important element in art that we understand the rules of perspective.